What up, peeps? It's time for another episode of Gross Pointe Bake, man. We all about the grosses, we all about the album sales, we all about the viewership, we all about the numbers here at Gross Pointe Bake, man. If you're new to the show, I'm just talking about box office grosses, album sales. I'm doing the numbers. I'm obsessed with the numbers of this game, man. How much money is this movie making, man? Who's putting the most butts in the seats, man? Who's making that cash register ring? Who's pulling up with the eyeballs? This is what we talking about on this show. Marvel movies are all the rage. So I wanted to talk about the lowest grossing Marvel movies, man. And I'm not just talking MCU. I'm talking Marvel, period. So, you know, we taking it from jump. You know what I'm saying? So we just going beyond the MCU. I could do that as a separate list later, but I'm just talking about Marvel in general right now. Who are the lowest grossing Marvel movies right here, right now? Who do you think is going to be in this top 10? Who are your predictions right here? Who do you think is going to be number one? Who do you think is going to be the lowest grossing one? We about to find out, man. Let's get into it without further ado. Coming in at number 10, Blade, 1998. Now keep in mind, this list is not based on quality, all right? Because in my opinion, Blade is one of the stronger Marvel movies out. And Blade set this whole bitch off. Blade set it off for comic book movies. It kept Marvel in the game. Blade was a tremendous move, huge gamble. Blade only made $70.1 million domestically, $131.2 million worldwide. But the budget was $45 million. So you got to keep that in mind. So, you know, the budget was only $45 million. Blade came out 98, made $70.1 million. And this is at a time where comic book movies were not all the rage. This is 98. This is before XMen. This is before Spider-Man. So it was like, yo, we taking a huge gamble. It was rated R. Blade was in there kicking ass, taking names, cutting vampires up. It was blood. It was a bloodbath. And it did well at the box office. Now, if you look at the numbers now, these are just pennies to what movies are making now in the comic book tip. But at the time, in 98, y'all gonna respect Blade. I'm mad that Blade is even on this list, but it is what it is. But that was good money. That was good money back then. In 98, 70 million on a $45 million budget. That's good money. That's good money, man. Respect Blade, man. But Blade is on this list at number 10. $70.1 million. Number 9. XMen Dark Phoenix 2019. Now this shit right here is embarrassing. We all know X-Men Dark Phoenix was trash. I mean, it's probably regarded as the worst X-Men movie so far. You know, argue amongst yourselves on which one is the absolute worst, but I think the majority of people are probably going to put Dark Phoenix at the bottom. Matter of fact, people ignored this in theaters. People ignored it. They was like, man, I ain't watching that. X-Men Dark Phoenix made $65.8 million domestically. $65.8 million domestically. Comic book movies today are making that money the first day they hit the streets. But this came out $65.8 million in 2019, y'all. This is 2019 money. Worldwide, it only did $246.3 million worldwide. The budget was $200 million. $200 million. That's just the budget of the film. We're not even counting marketing. So they didn't even make their money back. Dark Phoenix was all over the place. They got the stories wrong. The actors were phoning in performances, man. It was just like, man, what the hell is going on right here, right now, man? The movie was ignored. And I get it. I saw it in theaters because it's X-Men. I'm pulling up automatically. But I get why nobody cared. Because they keep messing up the Dark Phoenix story anyway. They keep messing it up. They started messing it up in X-Men Last Stand. Dark Phoenix is one of the best comic book stories I've ever read. They just fumbled the bag repeatedly with this Dark Phoenix storyline, man. So I just need them to reset the X-Men all together, start from scratch, and give us the Dark Phoenix saga we deserve on the goddamn film. But the Dark Phoenix is number 9. Number 8, Fantastic Four from 2015. This is the one with Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan, and them. What's the girl's name? Kate Mara. This movie was boring as hell. And the numbers reflected. Nobody cared. This movie was dark, dry, no personality. The director hated what they pieced together. He was fighting the studios. It was a disaster from the beginning. And it's like, man, when are they going to get the Fantastic Four correct? I'll tell you when. When they just call it The Incredibles and hush. The Incredibles was the Fantastic Four movie we all wanted and deserved. But they just can't get the Fantastic Four right. As far Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer, and this Fantastic Four they just can't nail it. They just can't get it right. And Fantastic Four, there's meat on the bone. Fantastic Four should be some good ass movies, man. Especially now with Marvel's machine. Marvel just needs to come in and take over. And we saw Jim as Mr. Fantastic, and that I'm all in. Some people aren't. Some people are just like, nah, we don't want to see Jim as Mr. Fantastic. I don't know. But whatever needs to happen soon, because Fantastic Four is taking L's. That movie in 2015 made $56.1 million at the box office domestically. It made $167.8 million worldwide. $167.8 million worldwide, 2015. This movie was making peanuts. The budget was $120 million. They took a smooth L. Ron Hubbard on this thing, man. Nobody cared. It made $25 million opening weekend. It ended up making $56 million total. That means after opening weekend, nobody gave a shit. They was like, man, I ain't going to see that, man. It's dry as hell. Number 8, Fantastic Four, huge L. L. Ron Hubbard. Number 7, Blade Trinity. I hate the fact that Blade is back in this bottom 10. But Blade Trinity made less than the first one. And I know why. Because it wasn't good. Blade Trinity was not good. Wesley Snipes didn't even want to do the movie. He didn't get along with Ryan Reynolds. You know what I'm saying? What's her name? Jessica Biel was in it. It was just not done right. This movie failed on... The guy they had playing Dracula was running from Blade. I'm like, why is Dracula running from anybody? I know Blade can kick ass, but why is Dracula running from anybody and holding a baby hostage? Man, come. Dracula ain't gonna resort to holding a baby hostage. What are we doing? They fumbled the bag. We lost Guillermo del Toro as a director. We brought in a new director, and he was clashing with Wesley Snipes. There was one scene in Blade Trinity where Wesley Snipes refused to open his eyes for a scene. Wesley was like, I'm not opening my eyes. That's petty as hell, first of all. He refused to open his eyes. They had to digitally put in his eyes being open. Crazy. It was just crazy. I heard he didn't even talk to his co-stars. It was a mess. The box office reflected this mess. The movie only made $52.3 million at the box office in 2004. It made $131.3 million worldwide. This movie took a huge L. Huge L. Ron Hubbard. You're not supposed to gross less than the first one, especially when the first one had a modest gross to begin with. And this is Blade. Movie crashed and burned horribly, and I hate the fact that Blade is on this list twice, but it is what it is, man. Blade Trinity, number 7. Number 6, Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance in 2012. This is the sequel to Ghost Rider. 2012, Ghost Rider's back. This movie made $51.7 million at the box office, $149.2 million worldwide on a $57 million budget. The budget was modest considering it's a comic book movie. The budget was modest. $57 million for a comic book movie. And I will say this: Ghost Rider looked amazing in this film. The look of Ghost Rider, he looked incredible, but the storyline and the execution was trash. There's a reason why some of these movies are at the bottom, and Ghost Rider reflects that. A lot of people just didn't care. They was just like, I didn't like the first Ghost Rider. I saw it on the strength of, it was Ghost Rider. I liked the character. You pulled up, you saw Nicolas Cage, you saw Eva Mendes, and you was like, all right. But nobody really liked the first Ghost Rider. Even though the first Ghost Rider made over $100 million domestically, nobody really cared because they didn't execute it correctly. Then you come with a sequel, you be like, all right, man, you know what I'm saying? Let's fix what we messed up the first time. They didn't fix what they messed up the first time. But I will say, visually, it looks better to me. Especially seeing Ghost Rider in a daytime environment looked amazing to me. And I feel like Ghost Rider is one of the coolest looking characters Marvel has ever put out. So I definitely feel like we need to see more Ghost Rider going forward. And I look forward to that because Ghost Rider, the storyline, the premise, the look of Ghost Rider, his story, what he's all about, it's a lot of meat on the bone for Ghost Rider to be out here flourishing just like everybody else in the MCU. And I want to see Ghost Rider win. But this movie did not win. It took a L. $51.7 million. It's number 6 on the lowest grossing Marvel movies list. Number 5, The Punisher 2004 with Thomas Jane and John Travolta. This movie made $33.6 million, $54 million worldwide. This movie didn't make a damn thing. This movie didn't make shit. $54 million worldwide? That's what we're doing, Frank Castle? Worldwide. $54 million. Pennies. The budget, however, was only $33 million, but still, you gotta factor in marketing, promotion. That's gonna be another $30 million. Worldwide, you made $54 million. The movie was forgettable. It was all right at the time, but it was just like, all right, you're not really bringing people in. And they kind of went soft. You can't go soft on The Punisher. You can't go soft. You got to go hard. You got to go gritty. You got to go ashy, concrete, blood, sweat, anger. We got to feel that. And you got to reflect that. Thomas Jane was an okay Punisher, but something just didn't mesh. You know what I'm saying? Something was wrong here. So the movie tanked at the box office. It didn't really bring in any new audience members. It was just like, we'll pass. And it looked like they passed. Because goddamn, man. $33 million in 2004. $54 million worldwide. Frank Castle, man, get your battle van and pack your L in it and drive off. Because goddamn, you took a L. Number 4, 2005's Electra. A spinoff of the Daredevil movie that people did not like. People didn't like Daredevil, but it made over $100 million domestically. Barely. People didn't like that movie. It's like, let's do a spinoff anyway. You know what I'm saying? Electra. It's a movie nobody liked, but let's do a spinoff. Electra did horrible business. Horrible business. $24.4 million at the box office. $56 million worldwide. This movie made $56 million worldwide. Multiple countries was like, man, fuck this movie. Several countries was like, nah, we ain't pulling up. We out. Jennifer Garner didn't cut the mustard. $65 million budget. Worldwide, they couldn't even make the budget back. Goddamn. Electra was bad. It was horrible. Electra reminded me of a full-length 80s rock video without the good music. The movie just didn't do it. It didn't get it done. It made zero sense. It was just like, man. And to be quite honest with you, I like Jennifer Garner, but she was never right for the role as Electra. I just never believed her as a Greek woman. You know what I'm saying? Compared to what Electra was like and looked like in the comic books, it was just like, Jennifer Garner? Jennifer Garner is adorable. She got the little dimple. She be smiling, man. She looks like a sweet girl. You know what I'm saying? She's sweet in the face. Now, mind you, Jennifer Garner can kick ass. You know, Alias, the movie Peppermint that she was in. I believed her in an action setting. But Electra comes with a different type of weight. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole vibe, there's a whole darkness to Electra that I feel like Jennifer Garner didn't possess. So I was just like, I never believed her as Electra. So, the movie just took a hard L and nobody cared. It made $24.4 million at the U.S. box office and number 4 on this list. Number 3, we're going to 2020 now. The New Mutants made $23.8 million at the box office, $44 million worldwide. Now, I will say this. This is pandemic, all right? New Mutants came out right when they were kind of starting to open the theaters back up. So the New Mutants had to fight uphill. So I really think that the pandemic really affected the gross of the New Mutants. The movie is not bad. It's kind of Marvel kind of tiptoeing in horror territory. Soft horror, though. They didn't really go full steam with the horror, but it was more so in that vein of like a scary movie. And I was excited. I was here for it. I remember the New Mutants, reading them, as a kid. I always liked the New Mutants, but I feel like they fumbled on many fronts, but the movie was still watchable. It was still okay. It was solid. You know what I'm saying? The gross doesn't really reflect the quality here, but I get why the gross is low. And so when people are barely coming back out of their homes to hit the theaters, you got to come with that product that we are tried and true on. And New Mutants, you bring in a new team, a new storyline. Everybody was just like, I don't know if I'm going to go watch that. And they didn't. $23.8 million domestically ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's tough, you know what I'm saying? You should have waited a little bit longer or just put it out to streaming. But now you're in the top 10 lowest grossing Marvel movies at number 3. Number 2, 1986. Y'all probably can guess what this is. Howard the Duck. Howard the Duck should have been number 1. Howard the Duck made $16.2 million at the box office, which is more than it deserved. $16.2 million in 1986 money, that's a pretty penny as far as I'm concerned, compared to what the movie is. Shit. I didn't see this movie when it was fresh. I saw it during the pandemic. Shit is garbage. It made $30 million. Well, they didn't even release it worldwide. There's no worldwide gross here. I'm just giving you the domestic. They didn't even bother pushing that overseas. The movie made $16.2 million. They spent $30 million making this movie. They invested $30 million into this movie. They was like, yo, let's put the money up. This is $30 million in 86 money. George Lucas was like, bet. People want to see Howard the Duck. Why was Howard the Duck? Out of all the Marvel properties you had, Captain America, the Avengers, XMen, Iron Man, the Punisher, Daredevil. Nah, man. Howard the Duck. That's what we making. Well, what about the X-Men? No, man, fuck that. The people want Howard the Duck, man. Hey, yo, how about Spider-Man? You think people are gonna show up to see Spider-Man? Howard the Duck, man. They want ducks. This is 86. The people want ducks smoking cigars. I put my life on that, man. I'm George Lucas. I know hits. They really invested in Howard the Duck. This duck hollering at Leah Thompson. Marty McFly's mom and the duck smashing. Nobody wanted this. Nobody asked for this. Nobody needed it. But they gonna make it anyway, man. $16.2 million on a $30 million budget. If you adjust for inflation, this movie made $40 million. Why did they make this? Garbage. I saw it. I was like, man, this is an absolute outrage. Doughboy can kiss my ass to this day for making me watch this movie. I lost so many people in the watch party because of it. Howard the Duck. And I see y'all in the chat right now. I'm usually with you, Tony, but not this time. You liked Howard the Duck? Come on, man. Y'all tripping. I get it. You saw it when you was a kid. It's nostalgia for you, but there's no way in hell you think this movie is really good. There's no way in hell. Howard the Duck, number 2. And the number 1, Lowest grossing Marvel movie. Drum roll, please. Punisher Warzone, 2008. This movie made $8 million at the domestic box office. $8 million. It made $10.1 million worldwide. This movie made receipt slips. This movie made ashtray change. This movie made nothing. $8 million domestically, 10.1 worldwide on a $35 million budget. This movie took the smoothest of L's. L. Ron Hubbard, LL Cool J, El Mariachi. This movie tanked. And the cold part is, they was like, all right, The Punisher from 2004 failed at the box office. Let's remove the stars and do another one with lesser named stars in it. Now that's when we really gonna bring the money in. Why would you do that? If the movie already took an L with John Travolta, who is a star, if the movie already took that L, and then you're gonna get lesser names, yeah, we're gonna get lesser names, but we're gonna make it rated R. That's what they did correctly. They made it rated R. They made it super gritty, but that was it. Nobody cared at that point. The Punisher should be gritty. It should be rated R. It should be him really killing these cats. But they fumbled. Nobody cared at this time. It was like, man, who was the lead, man? And I saw it in theaters. I was one of the $8 million that was, contributed to the movie. My guy, McNulty from The Wire played Jigsaw, and he was crazy in the role. I was like, yo, this dude is crazy. The Punisher Warzone is not that bad. Matter of fact, it's better than several movies on this list. But it was just, nobody cared. It was like, nah, man, we barely even saw the first one, man. What are you doing? And so the box office reflected that. But if you go watch Punisher Warzone, it's super gritty and violent like it's supposed to be. That's what you expect when you go to see the Punisher. But people just never cared. They never even bothered to show up. So boom, there you have it. Punisher Warzone is the lowest grossing Marvel movie to date. Now, you could throw the Inhumans on this list, but that was made for TV, and then they released it theatrically. That doesn't count. I'm not going to count that. So, the Punisher Warzone, 2008. Those are the lowest grossing 10. Blade, shout out to Blade 1. You don't deserve to be here, but you're here. And shout out to Blade for being the foundation of this whole Marvel shit. Blade is the foundation. Don't you ever forget it. Don't you ever forget it. Respect Blade. 1998. Give it the utmost respect. And Wesley Snipes as Blade was phenomenal. So shout out to Blade, man. Anyway, let me know in the comment section below what you thought was going to be number one. And let me know what you thought of these movies that are sitting here in this top 10. And what's your favorite movie in this, well, not top 10, the bottom 10. What's your favorite movie in this bottom 10? And you better say Blade, goddammit. Let me ask you this too. What's the worst movie in this bottom 10? And you better say Howard the Duck, goddammit. I'm not playing with y'all, man. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Gross Pointe Bake. I'm always an open ear to any ideas you have for me to do lists in the future. I'm always listening. Thank y'all for pulling up, man. And we out.